Gear myths. Hi, my name's Ben. I'm a UK-based mountain leader and welcome to Summit and Beyond. So this information that I'm giving you today is from my own experience and hiking around with friends with a lot of experience and learning from them, and getting asked these questions and hearing these comments a lot this season and for the last few seasons. This is the practice that I have developed for myself, and I've seen my friends develop it too. If you don't agree with the information that I'm giving and you prefer to do the opposite, or you believe the opposite, that's totally cool. I'm just talking from my experience and from what I've learned from my friends who also spend a lot of time out in the mountains. There's two myths I want to cover in this video. There's a lot more out there, but I'm just going to cover two. The first one being about footwear, and the second one being about waterproofs. These are the comments that I hear a lot. The first quote that I want to address: you need a pair of waterproof boots with good ankle support for walking in the mountains. Firstly, I will agree with that as far as winter. So if it is winter and you're heading out in the ice and snow and you're going up steep terrain and you're thinking about using an axe and crampons on your feet and you're going to be moving slow, then yes, you need a good pair of waterproof boots with good ankle support. And that's because the snow and the ice and the water is very, very cold, and the waterproof, the Gore-Tex lining, is going to keep your foot nice and insulated. It's not going to keep your feet dry because your feet are going to sweat, but it's going to keep them warm, it's going to keep them insulated, and it's going to stop that cold water getting in. Also, you can put spikes on the bottom, like good sized crampons for going up really steep terrain. So boots in winter are a good idea. However, when I go out in winter, I want to move quick. If I was to put boots with ankle support on, I wouldn't be able to move quick, because as soon as you immobilize the ankle, you can't walk properly. Part of walking naturally is the ankle movement. So as soon as you take that ankle or you restrict that ankle movement, you're putting a lot of pressure through your knees and your hips, and you can't walk naturally, you can't walk properly. So what I tend to do in winter is I will layer up my socks. I'll have lined socks on, and then I'll have proper thick winter socks on. I will also Vaseline my feet to give that extra coating of protection, and then I'll just put my running shoes on, and then I'll put running spikes on the bottom of those, and I'll have my poles. But I'll stick to the trails. I will stick to the paths that I know are not too steep, and I don't need to use an axe, and I don't need to use like substantial crampons. I can just walk up and down the mountains or run up and down the mountains. I can move faster. It depends what you're doing to what you need on your feet, really. If I was climbing up a gully, yeah, I'd want boots on. But if I'm just going for a quick run, a winter run, fell shoes with spikes on the bottom is fine. So it depends what you're doing in winter, really, as to which footwear you would pick. Let's go into summer. So summer hiking, do you need boots with ankle support? The only time I would suggest that somebody wear boots with ankle support is if the doctor says that you need the ankle support because you've got problems with your feet or your ankles. Other than that, no. Do we need the boots to be waterproof? Definitely not. If you're in the UK, I'm UK based, so I'm talking about hiking in the UK. If you're in the UK, whether it be the Pennines or whether it be the Lake District, the Highlands, North Wales, wherever, at some point you're gonna come across, in the summer, you're gonna come across bog. And if you step into that bog and the water goes over your ankle and it goes into a Gore-Tex boot, it's ruined. The boot is gonna hold the water, and your foot is going to be wet for the rest of the day. Rather, wear fell shoes. The shoes are designed to dry pretty quick. They're light and they will dry. I would still put Vaseline on my feet to protect my feet, and I obviously still wear some socks to prevent, are you wearing gingy socks to prevent blisters? But would I go Gore-Tex? Definitely not, because once that boot is wet inside, it takes a long time to dry out. You really need to get that boot back to where you stay in and get it on a radiator or in a drying room to get it dry again. Whereas the fell shoes that I'm wearing, if they get wet, they're dry as I'm walking. The ankle support side of it, if you do need ankle support, you can still get the trainer styled footwear with ankle support. And then the second one is, why can't I find waterproofs that keep me dry? There's a couple of reasons for this. I think the label waterproof is a complete misrepresentation, misbranding of what it actually is. They're not waterproof because firstly, when you're moving and you're sweating, you're getting wet from the inside out. They do have vents. Mine have vents here and down at this down here to let air flow through, but that doesn't stop me from sweating, and it doesn't stop the waterproofs from warming me up. Also, you got to think that even if you've got your hood up and your cuffs tightly done and your drawstrings pulled on your waist, there's still gaps. So if the rain's hitting you in the face, the water's still gonna get down your neck. If you've opened the vents because you're too hot and you're sweating, the water's gonna get through the vents. I would argue that waterproofs are good for keeping the weather off, as in the wind. So if it's raining and it's windy, the wind isn't going to penetrate through the shell of the waterproof. You might still get wet around here, around the cuffs. You might still, your main body may stay dry, but then you'll be sweating. But what it's doing is it's stopping you getting absolutely drenched, and it's stopping the wind from then hitting you, because when you're wet and the wind hits you, it just saps your energy and it's dangerous. So they are a really good protective shell for you to use, both the bottoms and the tops. But as far as why can't I find waterproofs that keep me dry, it's because I don't think there's such thing unless you could put yourself in like a rubber casing, and then if you're in a rubber casing, you wouldn't want to move because you'd just instantly be sweating, you'd be too hot. So the reason you can't find waterproofs that keep you dry is because there's no such thing. But there are waterproofs out there which keep you comfortable. The waterproofs that I have at the minute, I'm going to change them up next season, and I want to spend a little bit more money. I'm going to go and try Paramo out. I tried a Paramo jacket on a few weeks ago, and it was like putting on a really comfortable hoodie. The fabric's nice and soft. It keeps the wind and the rain off you, and I wouldn't mind being wet underneath that. So if the water does get in or I do sweat, it's still comfortable. It still moves freely with my body. So I'm going to try the Paramo, but they cost a lot of money, and I think that's the other forfeit that you've got to make. If you want something that is both waterproof and functional with the activity that you're doing, you have to pay the price for it. So when you're looking for waterproofs, I would say look for something that is comfortable, and go for something that fits, that you can have layers on, warm layers on, and the waterproof fits over the top, and it's nice and long on the sleeves, it's nice and long on the waist, and you can zip it up and the hood comes right over, and you can get that as much protection from the wind and the rain as possible. That's what you're looking for from a waterproof shell. I think they should rebrand it like weather shell or something like that, because it's more of that than it is a waterproof. I mean, you guys might disagree with me. You might have found the perfect waterproof that both stops you from sweating, so it's got that ventilation, and it keeps the rain off and keeps you completely dry. Let me know in the comments below if you found that waterproof. Anyway guys, I hope this has been helpful to you, and I will see you in the next video in a bit.